or not.
Rieger getting traded to Minnesota changes nothing.
6'4" guys running 4.4s. These guys don't grow on trees. And a lot of times I'm willing to bet on, especially long term, on the freak athlete.
You don't ever want to overreact to what guys look like in preseason. There's been a ton of preseason all-stars that never make rosters or never pan out.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Belly Up Fantasy Live, Week 12 Sunday preview here. And I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. And today's officially a recovery day, I think, as we all have to be reminded that work starts again tomorrow. But that's tomorrow. Football is today, so welcome
That's
in.
right.
We will have you covered for all the action leading up to the 1 o'clock games here. So first and foremost, Chase. Good morning.
You are still recovering, dude. I'm all right. Yeah, I'm doing better than you are, apparently.
Yeah, you need to bring
untie that, man. Get that going. Nope, doing all right. Yeah, it's actually, I mean, it's been a little bit colder up here. We've got snow and that now finally up in the great north woods, but whatever. It's that time of year. If I'm going to live up here, we got to be used to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but otherwise had a good Thanksgiving, had a good holiday, saw some family. Boys had fun. My little boys had fun. So that's all that counts. So
that is the most important part. Family, what the holidays are all about. Kevin, how are you doing? How was your Thanksgiving?
I'm doing great, and we had a great Thanksgiving, even though it rained all day, and then it rained all day yesterday. So the weather tried to ruin our weekend, but we're not having that. And so today it's sunny. We're great, and we're here, and so we're ready to go.
I love it. Yeah, no, forget the weather. Weather can't ruin a holiday.
That's right.
You
tried real hard, but
you play games, you drink, you eat. It's all good fun.
And all we can hope for is some football games like we had on Thanksgiving.
I'll tell you what, there were good games. All three of them were actually fun to watch. Yeah, no, that was a good day.
I was just reminding myself of the scores a little bit ago, and just like there was just a ton of offense, even from my Patriots. Your
Patriots had the offense. They left their defense apparently at the airport, but other than that,
special teams at the airport. That's what they left.
Okay,
that's what they left there. But yeah, no, the defense, it wasn't their greatest day either. But hey, it's one of those, I guess everyone's saying, a moral victory. I think we're at the point where they still have a winning record. I'm not taking moral victories at this point. They're in a dogfight.
That's the problem. Their whole division has a winning record. So
exactly. So we'll see what the Jets do today. You mentioned before we came on, Chase, it's officially now looking like it's going to be the Mike White and Trevor Siemian show, Jets in Chicago. So hold on to your seats, because you might.
I did pick him up in one dynasty league, and he was gone in the other. So we'll see how that works out.
That game is going to go. It's gonna. I feel like it's going to be one of the extremes. It's just going to be an absolute surprising Mike White and Trevor Siemian just going to be throwing the ball all over the place and finding success, or it's going to be absolutely nothing happening.
Mike White might be. There's been a lot of talk this week about how statistically he was great for Eli Moore and Corey Davis.
Yeah, Eli Moore is a guy that
may actually wake up this week.
I specifically read about him being much better in fantasy now.
Well, and if Mike White is good for Eli Moore, then he's got to be good for Garrett Wilson, and that would be. I don't think anybody would say no to that.
So, and they've got to get more than what 2 inches of offense
to
play or whatever.
2.77 inches per play.
Whenever someone actually figured out that math, I was impressed. Good for you. And 2,
you got too much time on your hands. To me, first of all,
it is pretty amazing though. That's a sad statistic.
It's a very sad statistic, but it looks like we said, we're talking about Trevor Siemian because it does seem like Justin Fields is going to be out today. He's not expected to play. We should find out hopefully in the next 45 minutes here.
Yeah, that would be great if we could find that out on air.
We should. They said they were going to try him out around 11:30, so hopefully I'm sure the reporters down there are going to be keeping a very close eye on that. So Justin Fields most likely not playing today. Greg Dortch also most likely not playing today. Look, this is a guy who people have been able to fill in as a flex guy for random weeks. I think it's time to drop Greg Dortch, though. Even if he comes back
it's time to
next week,
land the plane on him. So.
This will be their
Rondale
first
Moore,
week with Hopkins and Hollywood Brown on the field at the same time.
Yeah, and then Rondale Moore should be back next week too. So he's just going to miss his window to be useful here for you the rest of the season. So get rid of Greg Dortch at this point. He served your purpose in a lot of ways this year, though. So take it for what it is and move on. Looks like the Ravens are going to have a fantastic Lowe's commercial going on in my ear right now. Feels like the Ravens are going to have some pass catchers back between Demarcus Robinson and Devin Duvernay. So we'll see what Lamar Jackson's able to do with that. And then
Gus Edwards is expected to go today too.
Correct. Yeah, Gus Edwards expected to go. Allen Robinson is not expected to go. So fire up Van Jefferson today, especially obviously with no Cooper Kupp going forward.
So we've beaten that drum before, and it has not been success.
Well, then we'll see what happens here with Stafford not playing, and now there's talk of Stafford potentially being done for the season.
For the year, and I was going to say, speaking of Simeon and
I would
four different
every
quarterbacks
Rams
this week.
player, I think.
We have 4 new quarterbacks going to play this week between the Panthers and the Rams, and then that Bear Jets game. So yeah, take a look at hopefully you didn't have starting quarterbacks on too many of those teams, but take a look at who you got for quarterback. Make sure the dude's playing because
there's a lot of
the league right now has a different quarterback this week.
Well, and I will say when it comes to the Rams, at least in the Belly Up Staff League, I am in a position where because Chase, it looks like he's still not going to come back this week. I am in a position where I am going to start Kieran Williams and flex this week.
I'm interested to see what he comes up with.
Yeah, that's why I'm willing to take the chance there out of anybody in that offense today. I think
I'm not willing to take a chance. I'm willing to see what he comes up with.
I have to take a chance. That's what I'm saying. I have to. So, but I think they're looking for an excuse to get a good look at him. So maybe today is that day, given all their injuries that they got going on. Today might be the day that they really try to showcase him. So we'll see on Kieran.
Well, hopefully that's what happens because he'll lead off my just put it out there. He'll be at the top of my receivers list. Waiver pickups this week. Yes.
Yeah, if Kieran Williams works out, he should be because he could turn into a little late season league winner here if they're going to give him the ball a lot. So definitely keep an eye on Kieran Williams. A lot of hype coming from him coming off the IR. And then speaking of stuff coming out, you can, if you're looking for last minute advice, Chase and I both have our rankings up on Belly Up Fantasy Sports right now. You can find them under rankings. Just click our names. They're up there and updated. I do need to move Justin Fields on there once we get that news. So ignore Justin Fields ranking right now on my rankings, but they will be updated before game time.
You can ignore him on mine too. I had him pretty high, but I put mine out before.
Of course, he's Justin Fields. He's been all world.
Yeah, he's the number 5 quarterback in the season.
Did you guys hear this story from last week where after the game he went in and tried to apologize in front of the whole team to the defense for failing them because they got the ball back late and gave him a chance and he didn't do it. And I guess the entire defense basically leapt up off the bench and was like, no. You sit down. But I thought, you know what? That's that's the complete opposite end of the spectrum from what we saw from Zach Wilson.
I was going to say,
when they asked him, "Hey, do you feel bad at all?" He's like, "No, get out of here."
He embarrassed all us Wilsons throughout the land, and that alone is a reason enough for him to hit the bench.
You need to sit your nephew down and tell him. What's
yeah.
Up. I thought that was pretty cool.
Other guys, moms or whatever crap he's been doing, and
leave the Cougars alone and focus on the Jets.
Yeah, focus on more than 2.7 inches off it.
I said though the Fields thing. I said that's really cool. I came around big on this guy, and I'm not alone in that. But I
took him in Dynasty, and he's been sitting on my bench for the longest time. Then all of a sudden, bam!
I was not big on him. I was like, how many times have we heard a Ohio State quarterback get hyped up and then watch him in the pros and
turn into Art Schlichter?
Yeah, great. Yeah, right. But when I heard about that moment, I thought, okay, throw away what we've seen on the field from him running and throwing and actually playing some good football. Mm-hmm. That's a leader. That's a guy that guys will play for. It reminded me of Matthew Stafford's rookie season when he came out against the Browns in the last game of the season, nothing to play for at the end of the game. And he's got a banged up shoulder, didn't want to walk with it even, let alone throw with it. But he came back in for the last play and threw the winning touchdown.
Yeah.
I said right then, that's a quarterback that guys will play for in this league. And I think the Bears may have actually found something here now. I got the ducks in him now.
They just need to make sure he stays upright. And he might want to go back and watch some early Russell Wilson because nobody could get out of bounds or down better than him.
Right.
And so, he's got way too much talent.
Stay away from the RG3 tape.
Yeah.
Look
if
at
he
the
wants
Wilson
to watch
tape.
a horror show, then watch RG3 and what could happen.
Yeah.
Because, RG3 started off, he was all world.
Phenomenal
and
too,
he
yeah.
just got injured and more injured. And the Seahawks pretty much finished him off in that one playoff game. And that was downhill after that. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, Zach Wilson got his wake up call, so and that's history on that now. We'll see. We'll see if it takes.
He
We'll see
wasn't
if it
even
takes.
invited to the stadium, was he? For today's
It
game.
wouldn't shock me if he wasn't. He might have been trying to bum a ride and no one picked him up. I don't know.
I think it's interesting though now that we hear about all these he had the yips last year and they weren't sure about
I
him
know,
and they
the
didn't want to bring him back this year too
They
early
didn't want to
because
talk
of
about
it.
it in the preseason. Yeah.
Listen, you're not doing the guy any favors if you're just throwing him out there because you feel like you have to throw him out there. It's not like they were gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, the wins they have already were going to be overshot from what everybody thought they were going to get this year. If they didn't if they didn't win a game for the rest of the season, they still had a better season than everybody thought they were going to have.
Right, but they can't throw down the season because they're still in the playoff hunt.
But
they got to do what they got to do.
They didn't have any reason. Part of my point, though, is that they didn't have any reason to just throw the guy out there if he wasn't ready for any reason. It's not like they weren't playing well. They got the bulk of these wins they got under Joe Flacco, who's like our age, Kevin.
Yeah, he's he needs to be enrolling in AARP tomorrow. So
right,
apparently he's not the answer because they're not asking him to play.
Yeah, at least they're not rolling Flacco.
Yeah,
I'd rather see Mike White.
Well, Mike White's young enough too, where
they need to see what they have in him because if they don't have anything in him and they don't have anything in Wilson, then they got to look elsewhere next year.
You're not keeping Flacco forever. I mean, he's
like I said, he's one step into the old folks' home, so that's not an answer at all.
Here's what I think they'll be looking at when it comes to Mike White. I think they're going to be looking at. I don't think they think Mike White is going to be the franchise answer here, but what they're going to be looking for is can he be the bridge guy next year while they properly, hopefully, develop someone they get in the draft. It's going to be tough to get someone in the draft, but because they're doing so well this year,
that's right.
We'll see what they
there will
can get.
be no CJ Stroud going their way.
So that's why they're going to need to be able to stay afloat with now what is a team that has all this other pieces kind of in a row for once between receivers and defense and a running back. Like they're set to go except for the quarterback. And so I think they're going to have to see, can Mike White be someone who can keep us afloat while we find the next guy and develop the next guy? Or do we have to go get a veteran, someone who can make it work?
If you guys remember, and this is on tape, digital, whatever we call it nowadays, I said really early on, I like what the Jets are doing from a rebuild standpoint. I think they've done it the right way. The problem is their young quarterback hasn't hit yet. And if they can either get Wilson right or pick up a quarterback next year, they could really fly here, because the whole point of having that young quarterback on that rookie contract is that you've got money to keep building around.
Right. That's what the Seahawks did.
They don't want to
Russell Wilson was on his rookie deal.
They don't want to have to go get a veteran.
And then when he renegotiated for $700 million or whatever it was, the team was never the same after
They don't want to have to go out and get Jimmy G or trade crazy rumor that I've seen trade for Rodgers or anything like that. They don't want to have to do that because they want that free money still to be able to fill in around that guy and maybe make a 3 or 4 year push. But I think to see what happens here.
I think Jimmy G is obviously one that everyone would be talking about if they were deciding to choose to go out and get somebody else. I think a realistic possibility, though, that would be cheaper would be they might, if say Mike White, they don't think Mike White can be anything other than a backup for a full year, they might go and get someone like Jacoby Brissett, who might not be needed in Cleveland anymore. And they, because Jacoby has proven that he can.
Jacoby Brissett
he can help your team survive.
Deshaun Watson, he's going to have to take that quarterback spot because
Exactly.
Jacoby Brissett has been playing excellent football.
So that's where we'll see how these next few weeks kind of pan out for the Browns. But if the Browns end up in a position in the offseason where, they want to get something for Brissett, the Jets might be in a position where if they don't think Mike White's going to help them for the year, they don't want to go back to Wilson, they could turn somewhere like that. I think that's
Jacoby Brissett has proven in his career to this point that he's not a star, he's not a superstar.
He's a starter.
A professional
but
quarterback.
Neither is Jimmy G, and
he is professional. Look what he did in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Look what he's doing this year.
Look what he did last Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a Jacoby
he has had
Brissett
bad
fan.
situations, and he has made the most of them, and he is a professional player.
And he's a team guy too, where he's good for the locker room. Because he's not going to complain, even though, like you said, he's had not ideal situations.
And
he's going to show up and work.
There would be worse guys for a young guy to have to learn behind for a year or two.
Agreed.
Because of how he carries himself and how he does things.
So just another reason in my eyes why what's going on in Cleveland with Watson, being eligible is going to be something to watch as the rest of the season.
That's right. And if you're in a redraft league and Deshaun Watson's hanging around, might want to look at that.
I have him in one of my leagues where I picked him up. And
he's already spit out in a couple of leagues I'm in already, but I do have him in a couple of dynasty leagues that I took him in.
That's good. It's a good spot to have.
So that's good going forward.
Right.
Good spot to have him. So real fast before we get into our break here, I'm going to bring up a personal question here because as always now I never feel confident starting Marcus Mariota, even though he's a QB1 in the season. And in a Superflex league, it should be a no-brainer to start him. But when I have someone like Christian Watson sitting there on the bench who I could play over him, the upside feels higher with Watson, but there's obviously a lower floor with Watson, especially going up against a good Philadelphia defense on the road.
Well, he's not going to score 2 touchdowns going up against Philadelphia.
Well, and that's where you get nervous with Watson because his floor is so low. Because if he doesn't get a touchdown, he just hasn't been getting the ball necessarily consistently enough at high volumes to where he'd be able to have a higher floor. Plus, they got Lazard back in there. Well, so I ask you guys, should I just stick with Mariota?
How big's your league?
Superflex, 12 teams, Superflex, PPR.
12 teams. That's the same league I'm in and kind of league I'm in, and I'm going with Marcus Mariota.
I've got Mariota at 15 this week. I've got him as a borderline starter. I mean, if it was a bigger league, it was a 16-team league, he'd be a starter. I've got him up there, and he's still a quarterback. He's playing Washington. Washington's not getting Chase Young back this week. They added an illness designation to him and then called him out. So,
I have Mariota in there now. It's one of those second guesses that when you look at your own, you help people all week with their teams,
right? And then you can't figure out your own.
And then you wind up starting somebody in your flex on a Thursday. That's what happens.
I've got Watson as a flex player this week. I do like him, but it's against Philadelphia. Philadelphia's been really good. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers has had a thumb detached or something, I don't know, taken away, or I don't know, he's playing with half a hand. And I would in a super flex, I mean, it would, if it was a more sure thing than Christian Watson, we might, if you were asking about Chris Godwin maybe, or Tyler Lockett, or something like that, we may have a different question.
I am starting Rashard White over Dante Foreman this week, so that is happening.
Yeah, well, he's going to be the dude because Fournette's out, so I think that's probably a good take. Exactly. With Carolina's offense having to be behind Sam Darnold. Not that anybody that they could have run out there at quarterback.
Foreman needs the touchdowns. He needs the touchdowns.
Yeah. Whereas White's been catching the ball. White's been running the ball. White's been looked good.
And I think he's only going to continue
Hubbard
to look
is there
better.
to catch the ball in Carolina. Any throwing they do is possibly going to go to him. So
and I do believe White's only going to get more share of the backfield and look better as the rest of the season goes on. Because I think they've handled him perfectly. Like this transition from Fournette to White, I think has been handled perfectly. The way it's been balanced with Fournette getting the early season, higher usage, and now it's kind of twisting, and it's just happened to line up with a Fournette injury. But I think the Bucs have handled this backfield right to where I think we all knew this was coming eventually, even at the start of the season. It was just about the timing of when, and it's going to line up perfectly with fantasy playoffs now. I just hope I can get in there. That's what I got to get into.
Unfortunately, I'm a guy that's got Fournette, so
sorry. Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, this is going to bring us to our first break here from Manscaped. We'll see what Manscaped's got going on for the holiday season coming up. So we will be right back with some game-specific fantasy analysis after we hear from Manscaped.
Welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right, today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Whether you're brand new or already with us at Manscaped, you can use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels, the Platinum Package 4.0. This glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine all in one swoop. Inside the 10-part Platinum Package is everything you know and love about the Performance Package, plus some shower goodies included to elevate your grooming game to platinum. You can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Don't forget to apply their aluminum-free Ultra Premium Deodorant. And don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice, it's a cologne-quality fragrance. Get the Platinum Package this fall. These products are guaranteed to be hits for your dangly bits. Go to manscaped.com to get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine.
The simplest advice is that if you're looking for a gift for your man this holiday season, Manscaped, go to the website and use that discount code. It's a perfect gift. Every man would love to get any of their products. They got the
It's for the dangly bits.
It's for the dangly bits. Yeah, I am. Look, I thought we had a holiday one teed up there, so I'm sure we'll be getting that here in the coming weeks. But I can't wait.
I'm sure it's coming.
Well, I'm assuming there's going to be some Jingle Ball puns and decking the halls. So we'll see what Dan Maida cooks up for us as the coming weeks come on. But let's get into some games here because I'm looking at.
Before we get into the game, I got a fantasy situation I want to sprinkle out on you guys and see what you think. This is actual real world in this league that I'm in. All right.
Yes.
Over the weekend, last weekend, the one guy traded Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
And he got back Justin Herbert and Tony Pollard.
It's a good return considering.
Yeah.
Wait,
everything
touchdowns worth 800 points or what?
Considering Kamara's been kind of hit or miss at times this year.
But he actually had a good game this past week, and you're trading for the Kamara name. So the trade is not what the issue is here. The issue is because this one guy traded Justin Herbert, left him with Justin Fields, who got hurt Sunday, of course.
Okay.
As we've already talked about. And the trade was in that 48-hour review period, whatever. And so the guy that was going to get Alvin Kamara asked the commissioner, "Hey, my quarterback, it might be done for the season," and he asked that the trade be reversed during the review period.
That's the risk. So here's the thing: that review period is, in my eyes, is strictly there to make sure there's no collusion or unfairness or anything like that.
Right.
It's not there as I'm having buyer's regret, and I changed my mind after I hit accept. To me, once you hit accept, you've agreed to the terms.
Okay.
And it's the risk you take.
I probably wouldn't have reversed that trade either, but the commissioner went ahead and did.
Okay.
Now, the guy that was involved in this trade got so upset that he dropped everybody off of his league and quit.
Geez.
Now, that we all agree that's a little overreaction.
A little bit. But I'd be mad if I was him too.
I get being upset. I get that.
But I wouldn't do that because that destroys the rest of the league's integrity for the rest of the year.
Okay, that's the point I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
So, if you're in a league and something like this happens, talk it out, man. Get with do something, but don't drop everybody off your team.
Don't be that way. Don't be that guy. Listen, you take the risk, and listen, he should have known already it's not like Justin Fields' injury happened 8 minutes ago. You've known all week that he was iffy to go here. So if you already agreed to it, you agreed to it. Sorry. Deal with what you got to deal with. Pick somebody else up, whatever. Pick up Simeon.
Yeah. Like I said, I agree I would have let the trade continue, but I would not, if it had been me, I would not have reacted that way.
Yeah, no, I would have. And so I'm curious: is there a setting where the commissioner can make the guys he dropped like unpick, like make it so you can't?
Yeah, he went on there and put him right back on the guy's team and froze him out.
Okay, good, because that's what you're gonna do as the commissioner. You got to put the
that's what he did.
That just be a free for all of a bunch of starters.
Yeah, because one of the guys was like Saquon Barkley, and all of a sudden Saquon Barkley's on the waiver wire. We can't have that.
Yeah, no, that can't happen. So I'm glad he was able at least. But that sounds like a situation that if I was someone not involved, but I was in that league, would frustrate me for sure.
Okay.
So
there we go. Real life fantasy football. That's what you come here for.
So what's the future of this other guy who quit the league? Is he still quitting the league, or is
he's froze out and he's not going to be asked back. So
good. I was going to say you got to have some repercussions for pulling that. So that's okay. So good.
There we go. So continue to the game.
So let's get into the games here then, because looking at some of these totals here, the highest game total is Chargers Cardinals 48.5 over under. Is it? Look, here's my opening question to both of you. Is it just that simple that this is going to be where the most points are going to be this week, where we can expect the most fantasy value, or is this just going to be kind of a down weird? It feels like it's going to be a weird week. I don't know. It feels like it's going to be a very unpredictable week.
Well, it can't be any more unpredictable than last week was, when it was like only kickers and defenses were scoring and no one else wanted to find the end zone.
So true.
But I was looking through the lineup and I was like, I'm not sure if there's anything that looks like an explosion coming.
Yeah.
Well, I think that when it comes to this game, it's about as close as you could possibly predict, because the Chargers have the 22 ranked defense. They're 27th against the run. Arizona's 30th ranked against overall, and they're 29th against the pass. So it seems to me, if you've got anybody now that Kyler Murray is playing, because that was the big question right there, because he missed the previous 2 games. But if you've got anybody on either one of these 2 fantasy, on your team, get them in your lineup right here.
Well, and Mike Williams is going to miss again, so
Keenan Allen
will be their top option
right there.
Yep. Keenan Allen will be the top option. They still have Palmer and Carter to throw to here. It's still Justin Herbert, it's still Austin Eckler. But then on the other side of the field, we were talking about it earlier. This is the first time they're going to have Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins on the field at the same time. So,
which should open up the field for Connor.
Yep. Does Hopkins draw all the coverage and they leave Brown open? And now if Brown is healthy, throw it. He was lighting it up before he got injured.
And remember, no Zach Ertz either. So that's another thing. And I should mention, just because you brought it up, I did forget. I do also have Hollywood Brown that I could start over Mariota in my Superflex.
Yeah, I'd wait.
Because right now I'm starting Mike Evans and Keenan Allen in my wide receiver.
There you
spot,
go.
So.
No,
Yeah, I want to wait a week.
That's
on
pretty
that
straightforward.
But that's the way I'm looking to. I'm choosing to wait a week to see how this looks.
How are you doing in that league?
I need to win.
I need to win too. In the one dynasty league I'm in, I need to win because I started off pretty bad, but I've won the last 4 straight to put me in the playoff contention. But I need to win to stay in playoff contention.
Yeah, I'm 4-7 in that league. So it's crunch time.
I'm 5-6.
Now
I'm right there with you.
The good thing is that in this league, the standings are incredibly close to where, let's see, there's 4 guys tied for the last 3 playoff spots at 6 and 5. So it's not like I'm incredibly out here.
Right.
Got a couple weeks
same way,
left.
same thing I'm in. So
you got to win out.
So I need to make all the right choices here. All of them.
Well, me too. But I'm also now finally I'm finally gonna have. This could be. I'm choosing not to start Hollywood Brown, but this could have been the first week that I had really the team that I drafted outside of quarterback starting, where I would have both Keenan Allen and Marquise Brown starting. Now I was able to make a trade for Mike Evans along the way, so But Keenan,
Well, that's
it's
cushioning the blow a little bit.
so my three receivers are Evans and Allen and Brown. So now that everyone there is healthy, like I could realistically make a late run, a push here, sneak in, and then the world's my oyster. We'll see what happens. So, but that's
So
don't forget
get
that
them, get these guys in your lineup. No question about it.
Don't forget Zach Ertz is on IR there now for the Cardinals. So I do think we're also going to see a lot of James Conner in this game. So don't sleep on James Conner. It feels like he's finally
I've got
healthy.
James Conner, and so
I'm starting James Conner wherever I have it.
Yeah, he's finally
how
healthy.
about
He's going to get the opportunities.
Another real world situation. I was asked to trade James Conner for Kenneth Walker.
No. I want Kenneth Walker still.
Okay.
What, dynasty or redraft?
Oh yeah, wait.
Redraft.
I'd have to see what their schedule looks like going forward.
Honestly, it's not a no-brainer on either side, and it's kind of a pointless trade. If it was Walker for one of your top wide receivers, or if it was
it's kind of like trading a running. Why are you trading running back for a running back?
It's not like I always think position for position trades are so ridiculous. For them, especially when there's something that's that close, right?
Exactly.
It's not like the guy's going to do better with a change of scenery. He's swapping servers online. It's not like he's not going to Seattle to do better. He's not or anything like that. So I mean, it's kind of a pointless trade.
The only thing that kind of swings it in Walker's favor is Connor's been hurt. That's about it.
Connor's been hurt, but I mean, so is Walker.
Walker. He's only just coming back.
He missed earlier in the season, but he's been aces.
In that kind of situation, it's literally whichever do you like better. Who do you like better on in those two?
Well, I didn't want my Seattle, bias to leak in there because,
Connor is a pass catching back and a runner.
That's right. And Kenneth Walker is not.
Which is why I was so high on Connor coming into the season. And nothing's really changed in terms of that. I mean, except he got hurt. Had he been healthy, and they got rid of Eno Benjamin. They felt comfortable enough with where they're at.
They sure
apparently
did.
They felt comfortable
there's
enough.
There's a lot of running backs
health.
that are walking the street saying, with signs, we'll work for food or whatever.
Apparently they felt comfortable enough with Connor's health to let Eno Benjamin.
With Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't think. I knew they were upset with him, but I didn't think they was going to kick him completely to the taxi without,
that situation evolved quickly.
Yeah, that situation went
especially
right
with Mike
off
Boone
the rails.
being hurt. I mean, with Mike Boone going down too, you would have thought, well, Gordon's the only one left that was there at the beginning of the year that knows the offense.
Right, and
now they pull in Chase Edmonds, who's hurt.
Right, and I don't think that Melvin Gordon even has a job right now.
No, he doesn't yet.
No.
Yeah, Chase.
So that tells you all you need to know if all the other teams don't want him, because Darrell Henderson got released and he's got a job.
Picked up right away. Darrell Henderson's also about 18 years younger than Melvin Gordon.
That's true.
Darrell Henderson's only 24 years old. He's still a viable running back for a while.
He still might have some college eligibility left, but.
Well, look, let's pivot here a little bit, just because timing up these breaks, right? Let's actually jump into a couple start set questions here from the Twitter.
Okay, let's do this.
So this one's coming from Jay Clancy, and he's going to bench one of these guys in the PPR league between Etienne, AJ Brown, and Keenan Allen. And for me, I'm benching Allen out of that. Because there's still that question mark of if do we see another weird week where Allen might lead the team in targets, score 12 points, but Josh Palmer goes out there and scores 30.
Right,
you just don't know.
And Palmer was scoring the touchdown, so
So
Herbert likes him in the red zone. That's pretty clear right there.
So that's what if you're listening.
AJ Brown's a top 10 receiver. You're not benching him.
And
Allen can be, but he hasn't been yet.
Yeah, and Etienne is just too explosive for a ceiling to
I've
not
got
play
Etienne
him against
at
the Ravens.
12 this week. No, you want to you want to play Etienne. You want to play Brown.
Yeah.
If it comes back to bite you, you made the right choice anyway. So
sometimes you make the right choice and it still bites you, right?
Yeah. Don't be.
It happens all the time.
Don't be upset at the decision.
Sometimes you don't have a rear end left, but it was the right choice.
The right decision.
Justin Fields out. There it is.
Yeah,
right
not
there.
Surprised. We got it live. Okay.
Just right there, live as it happened.
Jamar
Justin
Chase
Fields
also officially out.
Out. So that gotta degrade in a major way Cole Kmet, who we've been talking about quite a bit of late.
Mhm.
Do we not think so?
Well, so that's a perfect segue. It's like you read my mind. You were seeing what I was seeing on the screen because we have Cole Kmet involved in the start sit question here.
Uh-oh.
So
Okay,
let's
do it.
Let's see what hold on, I just lost it. Sorry, my screen. Okay, so the question is Cole Kmet, Evan Engram, or Foster Moreau?
Man, I don't like any of these choices.
So look, if I'm being honest, I'm actually still gonna go Cole Kmet here because if we're gonna see
That's
anything
your choices, and Cole Kmet is the way to go.
yeah, out
But
of those
I wouldn't be
choices-
dancing across, many aisles.
No, I'm not feeling great
disagree
about
with
it, but
I'm going to disagree with all of you because I have
Okay.
Foster Moreau at 12. I have Engram
Foster
at
Moreau
13, and I had
can
Kmet
do
at
it.
15.
He can do it, and he goes up against the Seattle
He's
defense.
going up against
But
Seattle.
he hasn't shown anything yet. So I hope he does because he's another guy that's going to be in my article coming up next week. Just so you know.
well, it seems like we are split here, boys.
That's right.
That's
That's
all
right.
over the damn
So-
place.
We're not really doing this dude
I'm
any
ready
service
to
here.
hit the button for Foster Moreau, but I'm not hitting it just yet.
Yeah, that's where we're at with that one. So if you're listening, there,
Seahawks are the second best matchup for opposing tight ends.
Okay. And I'm
That's-
ready
and-
to see
and
it.
that tight end
I'm ready to
why
see
I
it,
have
like I
Foster
said,
Moreau so
because
high.
if I do, he's going to be in my article this week, but I'm not going to start him
But
just yet.
think of what I
need
just
to
said,
see it.
though. I've got Moreau at 12. I've got Engram at 13. I've got Kmet
Yeah.
at 15. They're
Which means they're
basically
all right
interchangeable
there.
anyway.
Yeah.
Dude, flip a three-sided coin. I feel bad for you, but if you're going
One
by
of
strictly
those
by
are
my
your-
rankings,
well,
I'd go Moreau.
Right now, the tight ends, nobody's got a good choice unless you got Travis Kelce.
Right.
yeah, and really at that point, one of them scores a touchdown, they could be top 5 because that's just the way tight ends work these days. It's not going
That's
to
right.
take much to be. So yeah, it's yeah, that's where we are with that. So sorry we weren't too much help on that
Well,
one for you.
Baltimore's pretty middle of the road against opposing tight ends.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not a terrible matchup there for Engram, and he still has his starting
He's another
quarterback
guy
throwing
that
to him.
might be in an article of mine this week. He does good. We'll see.
But and the Jets again likewise are pretty middle of the road. I mean, the matchups are better the matchup is better for Moreau.
Mhm.
Absolutely, it is.
But it's
Plus,
not like
he's
the
got
other
a
two
good
are facing
quarterback,
juggernauts. Yeah.
So, like I said, he needs to show me before I'm putting him in my starting lineup.
I think he's shown in the past, though. I think he's shown in the
Yeah.
past when Waller's
But he
been
hasn't
out.
shown.
I know,
He had every
lately.
opportunity this
He has
past
not had a
weekend,
great
but he
year.
didn't do it.
But is some of that? I mean, they've got Devontae Adams in town now, and nobody saw any targets in Green Bay either, except for Devontae Adams. Is
Yeah,
that part of the
Devontae Adams
problem?
getting 20 targets. So
If he's open, if he can find open spots and get open, you'd think it eventually Derek Carr has to throw to the guy
throw it
that's
his
open,
way
not
because
just Devontae Adams all the time.
yeah.
So I don't know. It's a real close call. It's a
You would
rough
think
call,
that
dude.
Hollins would be a play as well. Just throwing out various Raiders on that one, but
Yeah, I like Collins.
he had a pretty decent game this past week, but he has not been consistent.
No, he hasn't been consistent, but he's he has shown his ability to show up.
Dude,
It
I'm
really
hoping
just
that-
comes
I'm
down to
hoping
Derek
these three
Carr.
tight ends aren't all already on the roster too, because there's the other part of things.
Oh yeah,
I realize tight end is it's a
Well, in
Nightmare?
the
but it's more of
Yeah.
a nightmare if you've got to choose between 17 of them that are
Exactly.
no good,
right
rather than just one or two.
in the redraft league I'm in, that's not a possibility because you can only have 2 tight ends on your roster.
Either way, man. Yeah,
Mhm.
drop one or two of those dudes and just go with pick
There's
one.
got to be a better player, unless you're in a 20-team league or something. It's got to be a better player.
Take
on the
Engram and
wire.
drop the other two, or take Kmet and drop the other, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
wait to see if Justin Fields plays.
I wouldn't
again
drop
this year.
Kmet, no, because Fields could
no,
still
no,
play.
don't drop Kmet.
Don't do that.
If
Don't
Fields
do
can
that.
play, if Fields can't play, he's right back there with everybody else that plays. tight
Well,
end, including me.
Well, we got another one here from Fantasy Football Wizard, and this one's interesting because I'm only bringing this one up because I think there's too much hype of a recency bias here, and he's between PPR has to start one between Christian Kirk and Samaje Perine, and it's Christian Kirk hands down for me. Like Samaje Perine, I think.
I don't
was
know
very,
about hands down.
so
I
for
don't
me,
know.
so for me, the way I
I
look
don't
at
know about
Samaje,
hands down because Samaje
So-
Perine has a great matchup coming up.
no, not as good as you think. Titans have not been allowing rushers over 100 yards, I think, since week 7. I'd have to look at the exact week, but they have been a lot
Yeah,
better against the
I'll tell you.
run.
But he's the guy.
Christian Kirk has been fairly consistent. He hasn't really been taking the top off, but he's been consistent. And I think Perine's explosion last week with those touchdown catches was very situationally a pivot for that team based on the concussion on Mixon, in game. We see that a lot where a guy steps in and the team will ride that hot hand. They'll take advantage of the last minute matchup and try to catch the other team off guard because they didn't plan for it. Doesn't mean it's going to be replicated the next week when a team, because it's been no secret that Mixon was going to miss this game today.
Don't chase
So they've planned
the
for Perine.
touchdowns.
They've played.
That's-
Samaje Perine has never
Don't do that. And
Samaje
I
Perine
have
hasn't
to-
had 3 touchdowns in a game since junior high,
Yeah.
and he's a good backup, but he's a pass catching backup first.
Exactly.
They have not been a very efficient run team, even with Mixon in there. Mixon is averaging
right.
3
And
yards a
Tennessee,
carry.
and you're right, Andrew. Tennessee's the number 2 defense against
Christian
running.
Kirk is a
Number
top
2.
10 wide receiver. Samaje Perine is the backup to a top 10
Exactly.
running back.
Yeah,
This
Play
it's
feels
not
Kirk,
like
and
hands
again, it's
down
the
like
right
I said,
situation.
but yeah, Christian Walker is the answer here.
Christian Kirk, but yeah, this feels
Right,
like
I'm sorry, Christian. Yeah, Kirk.
I figured that's who you meant. But this feels like a Tyler Boyd kind of day. It feels like a T. Higgins day because I just think that's the way the offense is going to be leading.
Well, if that's what
happened,
happens,
Chase
I
is
got
still out.
Tyler Boyd, so I second that motion right now.
Well, I hope you were listening, FF Wizard. Hopefully we helped you out there. Real fast before we get back into some games, because we keep saying we're going to talk about some games, then we keep getting sidetracked with real world fantasy
That's right.
situationships.
Real world situations must be dealt with.
But real fast, so we're going to hear from the guys over at True Classic. If you are looking for another holiday gift for your man, this is another great option. So pay attention, get the discount code, and go check them out. We will be right back after this.
Football is back, baby, and our new sponsor, True Classic, wants you to look and feel your best even after a couple of brewskis or going full force on your fantasy football draft. Sure, it's football season, but it's also butt to couch season. Luckily, True Classic has the absolute best fitting clothing a man can buy. Snug in the arms and chest with a little extra space in the torso, their t-shirts are designed to keep you cozy and highlight your best assets no matter what you're up to. So if your special someone is upset that you're watching football all day, at least you can look good doing it. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men find the perfect fit at an affordable price. Our listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, get 25% off with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at TrueClassic.com. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with six-packs, but most of us aren't packing anything but a few beers. Fellas, you are wearing the wrong clothes. True Classic tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt you can always confidently throw on. It's about time to get your fit together, so upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic and get 25% off at TrueClassic.com with promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. That's 25% off at TrueClassic.com with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. If there's one bet you should make this football season, it's on True Classic. True Classic, look good, feel good.
All right, and welcome back. And in true
Right.
fashion-
He needs to mention that the wife loves him.
yes,
Okay,
the wife
somewhere
does
in
love
there,
them.
it needs
That's
to be mentioned.
The biggest
The wife
endorsement come
loves
from Kevin
the
Wilson's
shirt.
wife.
Yeah.
So there we go. That needs to be included
Not a
in the
joke.
promotion.
No, I know it's not a joke. No. Real fast before we jump into the games, because in true fashion, we're going to quickly pivot back because we got some responses from some of the guys that we just answered questions for. Jay Glancy says he was the one with Travis Etienne, AJ Brown, or Keenan Allen benching one of them. We said bench Keenan Allen. He says he does have Palmer as well. He just hates Etienne's matchup, and AJ Brown has been very up and down. He can't afford another dud. I still
Palmer,
say just
Palmer,
sit
Palmer.
Palmer and Allen and
You-
play Etienne and
Browns
AJ Brown.
playing the Packers, it won't be a dud.
Yeah, so I stick with
That's-
Etienne and AJ Brown and don't overthink it. Just go with it.
I'd look at Palmer in a major way though.
If-
well,
'Cause Palmer and Herbert have that.
but I'm still
If
not
he's got
playing
Palmer and Allen, I'm not playing him either over Brown, though.
Exactly,
No,
and
no,
that's
no.
what he
No, no,
has.
no.
I'm not playing
No,
him
no,
over
no.
Brown. So
Brown
he
is
can,
in. No
and
question.
he can only start two.
There's
of
no
the,
debate. There's no question about that.
No,
Yeah, so
Brown's
he
a
can only
must
start two. So
wide
I'm,
receiver.
I don't know if we
starting
helped
Antonio
him or.
Brown. And then the other one to answer the tight end question. He said he would have to pick up just Foster Moreau and drop Evan Engram, which I think we all agree would be the right choice to drop Engram to pick up Moreau, so you can at least have the choice between Kmet and Moreau. I think that's probably safe, unless it seems like
Yeah,
Chase
I
disagrees.
would probably do that as
That's
well.
a course of peace. I mean, like I said, I've got one ranked at 12.
Yeah.
I've got one ranked at 13. It's not like it's a must do.
So
Agreed.
Again,
if you want
To help you
know,
out, none of us agrees. So
if you want to
Sorry.
play
who do you
some
like
dice,
best,
and,
Steve?
Yeah,
you know,
I guess, yeah.
pick
Let us
one
know whose
dice
advice
is
you took.
Moreau and one dice is Ingram, and see who gets the higher number, and go that way. It's just about as good as any other system.
Yeah, John, do us a favor. When you do decide, comment back on the message and
Yeah,
let us know which one of us is best you took.
It is indicative, though, of how good these questions are. Is that the three of
They
us
are
don't
good
necessarily.
questions, and it's indicative.
It's
of
not
just
like
how
there's a.
terrible the tight end position is.
So you guys who are asking these questions can at least feel good that you're not asking a question that
Right.
Yeah, you're not
You
like,
know, and
geez, should I start Austin Eckler or should I start, whoever start Eckler? You're not asking those kind of questions. You're asking legitimate questions where there are things to be considered.
there has to be a thought process involved.
Feel
Yeah.
good about yourselves, gentlemen, because you're not asking easy questions here.
That's right.
Raheem Mostert officially inactive, so fire up your Jeff Wilson shares.
Jeff Wilson today, tomorrow, next week.
I was already
not just because he's a Wilson too, by the way.
I was already playing him in DFS this week, so
Absolutely,
that just makes that
get
feel
him in
better.
your lineup. There's no question about that.
Yeah, so that just makes me feel better about that. So Jeff Wilson should be a great play today for Miami.
Should be awesome.
All right, real fast here before we run out of time. Let's do our normal thing here. Where is a game that we are all looking towards for fantasy value? We already pretty much talked in depth about the Chargers and Cardinals starting us off the bat. So do you guys have another game you are looking at that could bring fantasy wins this week? Chase, hit us with you first.
Honestly, I was looking at that Las Vegas Seattle game.
Okay.
I was looking at that, and I don't mean to take
Me
your
too.
team
Me
away
too.
there, Kevin. But he came to
Well,
me first. Hey,
Okay, that's fine.
alphabetical order, dude.
I'll pivot.
No, it's neither one of those teams is necessarily a juggernaut on defense right now, especially fantasy wise against opposing fantasy teams, and they're both in need of wins. I mean, the Seahawks are sitting nice at 6-4, but they can't afford to lose. Lose ground in playoff runs.
Can't have it.
No, not at all. And I think I think you can run on Las Vegas. I think you can throw on Las Vegas. So and they still have all their starters healthy. Now on the other side of the field, you've got the Raiders here who still have Derek Carr, but with Waller being hurt, they've been inconsistent. It's been 30-point games from Devontae Adams, and then wherever else you maybe get a point. Josh Jacobs has been a solid running back. I think there are points to be had in that game. I'm firing up anybody I have on either one of those two teams, unless you've got a better option than Mac Hollins, which you probably do. But I'm just saying, the stars in those games should have star type games today. There could be a lot of points scored in that game.
Yeah, I am running out the Geno Smith, Tyler Lockett stack this week and on DraftKings. So that feels good to me, and that feels like a good play to me. So I don't disagree with you there, Chase. Real fast, because we did just have a comment in here. We kind of halfway answered this one already because we talked about Samaje Perine and Christian Kirk, and starting Kirk over Perine.
I just gave the dude an answer, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, there you did type it in, okay, And honestly, Pacheco or Gibson doesn't really change it for me. I'm still,
especially in PPR, because Pacheco's not catching any ball.
Yeah, so Kirk is it for me, PPR. Out of
actually, the only question I like Perine. Perine steps into a starter's role this week. But Gibson has surprised us all this year with how much they've used him.
Even with Robinson there, he's been there.
Before the McKissick injury, Gibson had supplanted McKissick as the pass catching back, which then begs the question: why the hell wasn't he the pass catching back when he was the running back?
I know, right? It's weird.
He had all these points that we were all hoping for the last 2-3 years.
I know.
Why the hell weren't you doing that? But Gibson has looked really good. Even with Brian Robinson being the starter, Gibson has continued to put up fantasy points, but Christian Kirk is a top 10 wide receiver this season. Play him as such.
Yes, and that's, once again, just don't overthink it. I know it's easy to overthink this time of year as we're all sweating out playoff spots,
Right.
so I get it. But I think we all three put our stamp of approval on Christian Kirk this week. Kevin, have you had
Absolutely.
sufficient time here to pivot to another game?
Okay, so I had to pivot, and so I'm going to pivot over to the Atlanta Falcons and the Washington Commanders, which still is difficult to say. All right? But anyway,
always catches me.
Yeah, you know, as Atlanta, their defense is absolutely god awful. All right, so
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. So we just talked about Gibson. If you have him, go for it. If you've got Robinson, go for it. If you've got Samuel, you got Taylor Heineke. I say all these guys are a go unless you've got somebody that's a little bit better. And then over on the other side with Atlanta, because Washington's defense is pretty good. So then you're going to have to figure out Cordell Patterson. Are you going to, I think that he's a go. You got to, if you got him, you pretty much have to play him. But some of these other guys, and it's a real shame that Kyle Pitts is on IR. There has not been a player who's been more disappointing this year than him, I don't think. So you're going to have to make some.
I like Drake London against the Commanders.
Okay,
the Commanders
give up because they
Commanders
are
give
18.
up points.
The Commanders are number 18 against the pass. So Drake London is a guy you could look at. And we talked about Marcus Mariota already.
Yeah.
And I have to start him in 2 different dynasty leagues because I had Justin, Fields. So and when you look at the point differential between the two of them, it's only like 3 or 4 points between the two of them.
But
so it's not like it's devastating and I'm starting, Mike White or, instead or something like that.
No, but the thing with Washington, they give up the 12th most points to opposing wide receivers. So it's a good matchup for Drake London. Plus, Pitt's out, he's hurt. Do you trust Olamide Zaccheaus? And they let Brian Edwards go, who is a good wide receiver.
I know.
In the context of their offense, Drake London has been a target monster already.
Right.
Now he's literally the only person.
They just need to go like this.
He's literally the only person to throw to now, other than possibly Cordero Patterson. So
he's going to get some passes thrown his way. So
I think London in that game. I think Patterson and London are both obviously going to have to be forced. They're going to have no choice but to get the ball in both of their hands in whatever way possible. Which it does make me wonder: does Caleb Huntley all of a sudden have a role this week because they're going to have to use Patterson maybe in a different way than they're used to using him? Like, does Caleb Huntley, which Caleb Huntley's been the more traditional back, obviously, out of the two of them, but does Caleb Huntley get used more on handoffs and goal line and stuff? No. I'm not saying go for that. It's something I'm watching.
I still like Algier better than Huntley.
I like Algier, especially, if you're in Dynasty, don't.
Well, sure, Dynasty Algier.
Don't get too crazy on that. So
no, like I said, it's just something I'm watching. I think it's going to be a Patterson. It's going to be a Patterson and London day for sure.
Absolutely, no question about it.
Yeah. So that is that. So Falcons, Commanders, Chargers, Cardinals, Raiders, Seahawks. Look, there's some good games here. Do the Bucks continue to be turned around here? Does Brady keep this going? Because it's a serious question now, because it seems like we all just kind of forgot of how bad he was earlier on in the year. Well, I shouldn't say how bad he was, because he was still a top a QB1. Like he was technically doing his job. He was just getting really frustrated because everyone around him was dropping balls.
And he was throwing stuff and,
I'd be frustrated
doing everything but slapping people upside the head.
Yeah, so do we feel confident that the Bucs offense has shaken that off with their last 2 wins, that they've turned it around, that we can trust Mike Evans, we can trust Chris Godwin, we can obviously we all seem to agree that we like Rashard White, but the question's been more so the pass catchers. They've been very inconsistent.
Well, they haven't been healthy, number one.
Sure.
And so okay, so here comes a question then. Personal question. Do you start Tom Brady or do you start Kyler Murray?
I don't answer personal questions.
Well, that's not, it involves me personally in
I
fantasy. I've got both of those guys on my team.
Murray with the
I'm starting Tom Brady right now.
Yeah, Murray with the hamstring injury worries me because he's a guy that will actually use that hamstring. He's going to try and run because that's what Kyler Murray does. And hamstring injuries are touchy, tricky, and that worries me to no end. He hasn't been great this season anyway. I think I'd take my chances with Brady figuring it out. I like Rachaad White. I think that he may take a full game of Rachaad White may take a little bit of pressure off of Brady.
That's right.
And
If
allow
you
him
read
to
my
actually
articles
be able
weeks
to
ago,
throw.
you'd have Rachaad White on your team right now.
Right. No.
Yeah.
So I like Brady better than Murray in that game. Probably
too.
just
I do as well.
for safety purposes. I think probably.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do like that as well.
And I will say I back that up in my rankings because I have Brady as a starting quarterback this week. So
I do too. He's in my top 12 as well this week. So we follow it up here with what we say on this show.
That's
courage
right.
of our
We do
convictions.
do
right?
that.
Yes.
You do show up.
All right, but hey, that's going to pretty much do it here for our Sunday preview show here. We haven't done this in a while, but we have some extra minutes here. So let's remind everybody where they can find Chase, where they can find Kevin. So Chase, hit us off. What do you got going on the week-to-week basis, and where can everyone find you?
Right now, you can find me in my basement bar watching my boys. My wife's on call today. She actually got called into the hospital, so that's why you saw the cameo appearance from Lachlan, my youngest, earlier. But no, you can find me at STT Chase FFB on the Twitter machine there. As always, check out bellyupfantasysports.com. Find my weekly articles on the Blitz pickup and the Thursday night previews and other insights as well. I'll release them as they come, but yeah, that's where you can find me. So,
and John Nelson with a little comment from one of the previous.
Says neither Murray nor Brady are as good as Kirk Thuggins, living his best life chained up on the flight home.
Gotta love it. All right, Kevin, what do you got going on?
So
as we all know, baseball season's been done for a while
Yeah,
now. So what's
it's been
keeping
done
you
for a
busy
while,
these days?
So, you can always find me on Twitter at Kevin62 WILSEA, and you can always go to as Chase mentioned, the Belly Up Fantasy website. There will be an article dropping because remember, this is 2 weeks left in the fantasy regular season. So you're going to want to go over there and find out who to pick up. You'll find that article probably tomorrow. I almost guarantee you'll find that tomorrow. And then Wednesday, Chase and I will be available Wednesday to do the Thursday, preview and all that. So we're looking forward to that, and just get onto all kinds of articles over there for me on the Bellet Fantasy website. So just click on my name and check me out.
Wilson, he brought up a good point there before Duck tells you where you can find him. There's 2 weeks left in the regular season. That we are
2 weeks.
in the end
time
game.
to get busy. It's time to get serious.
It is time to think differently about your roster. If you are assured of a playoff spot, now is the time to be going out, grabbing your handcuffs for your running backs.
Grab a second defense.
Looking 1 week ahead at defense. Exactly. Those kinds of things.
Your bench becomes matchup plays instead of backup plays.
Yes, and if you're fighting for a playoff spot, you've got to take big swings here. You're looking for the biggest upside. Not the safe play, the biggest upside play. The safe play got you where you're at 4-7 or whatever.
Thanks.
I'm right there with you in a couple leagues, dude.
I'm in one dynasty league, I'm 5-6, so I'm right there. The other one, I'm 9-2, defending champion, so I'm riding high over there.
When I'm in 19 leagues, trust me, I am right there with you in several.
There's plenty of them.
Okay,
I'm not 19 of them, so.
The safe play got you where you're at. You need to take big swings, go for the big win this week, and survive till next week. But if you're assured of a playoff spot, it's end game thinking here. Start looking at your roster in a different way.
Absolutely correct.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Doc.
And you can find me every week. So every Tuesday night, Divots and Pivots if you're a golf fan. And look, at this time of year, with the kind of be the slow season of golf season, we're talking everything sports anyways. That's why we call the Pivots part of Divots and Pivots. So check us out every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on YouTube, Divots and Pivots. And then as always, every Friday, you can find the Inside the Medical Tent article that comes out where I interview Brian Scott from the Injury List podcast. We talk about the injuries from the previous week and what it means going forward. As far as realistic timelines, because we all know that the teams will often put out a timeline and doctors don't often agree. So come and get the latest real information from a trusted professional. But that is going to do it for us here. You can find me at Real Mr. Mallet on Twitter as well. And we will see you next Sunday, as always, at 11 o'clock for Belly Up Fantasy Live.
Slajava.